Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one and all to the National Semifinals League of Legends edition. Thank you all so much for joining us. I am Sandbag. Joining me as always, the duo Zathos. How are we doing today, boss?
I'm doing good. You know, you're coming over here to England, and then afterwards we are going over to Ireland, or at least I am, for the Gamer Fest final. And Sandbag, I've heard rumors that whoever wins here today might be joining us as well.
Rumors are confirmed. This is for a spot at the LAN finals in 2 weeks' time, the Saturday, 1 p.m. The winner of this is going to take on the winner of the other semifinals. So you actually make it out of your house to compete against the other best teams in the nation. I'm excited for this one, and who we got going on who's making it on into this into the semifinal match.
Yeah, so we got ATU versus UCD. Of course, ATU are coming in because MU weren't able to field a team. You know, it's that time of university. I've been gone for 3 years myself. Once education starts becoming a little more important, they weren't able to do it. But ATU still a very strong team. And of course, when you have yourself another opportunity, you're going to be firing at your best, especially in this second draft. Of course, you know, there's been a few changes in the patch. However, I still think the bans will mostly be the same, especially with some of those famous picks getting away, like String the Best, on his Sion or his Katarina.
Yep, as we see Champion Select going to be live on screen. First couple bans flying on through. Got the Bard and the Yasuo. Opposite that Mbessa that you called out. And Caitlyn looking to be another one of those. Deathfire Touch. The elephant in the room feels like if you can play it, if your name is Smolder, you're probably going to want to pick that one up.
Yeah, and I'm questioning if ATU want to pick it up just because take a look at the badge. You get rid of Nocturne, you get rid of Bard, two champions that can abuse someone like Smolder, who isn't the quickest at trying to escape. It also does help that the support that they're banning away Bard from has a 55% win rate in 129 games. That might also be the reason, but I think Smolder definitely can be a first pick. But we've also seen a few other champions rise up in priority. One of them as well being Xin Zhao. I'm not sure if everybody in solo queue has seen, but he's got this weird AP variant that could be a bruiser as well.
Yeah, I feel like we might have seen him, you know, if anyone's been playing some ranked, playing the flexes, you do have that AP sustain heavy build with the Shiv that people seem to be working on. Random champions are opting into the AP version of that Shiv change, so keep an eye out for that one. Ashe, however, going to be the blue one pick here for UCD.
Yeah, Ashe gives you, of course, great engage, but also has the pairing with Seraphine, one of the strongest bot lanes you can kind of build around at this point into the game, and does pretty well into the Smolder early on. And of course, with that Crystal Arrow, has to force him to take Cleanse, making that early game even stronger. Now, the usual pairings up you like to have with the Smolder is something like a Nami, gives you a little bit of sustain, makes it with the Ashes and adds difficult, or you can go for something like a Braum, where you just try to keep him safe.
Yep, trying to see. The more information you have, the better you're able to combine. However, Smolder, Ashe, both of them are more than comfortable in any sort of setup. Nami, a very reasonable look for it. Karma, I know, is another something that you press the R, you press the E, and all of a sudden your Smolder's a lot more difficult to take down. Nami going to be the option. And Mandate, definitely worth keeping an eye on. Nami, Smolder. Yeah, the earliest laning phase, nowhere near this Ashe Seraphine combo. But if you can get those stacks ticking, and especially if you can get your jungle attention, that can be a way to turn this.
Yeah, but it's all about, can they actually survive the early game? Because those Nami's heals is going to be crucial. Otherwise, Seraphine and Ashe would have just bullied out that Smolder. Now, they are questioning the Seraphine, but I'm more curious about the jungle they want to try and pair up with this. Because Xin Zhao is very popular with these two AD carry and support, but you just really want anybody that is a bruiser and wants to engage, especially when you're against a Smolder Nami. Yes, Ashe Seraphine is super strong at long range. There will be a point into the game where the Smolder will just have more value than something like an Ashe.
Yeah, especially once splashes start coming through. Then you can be a bit more target agnostic. The Xin Zhao that we did highlight is going to be the option, and it feels like UCD, they're getting exactly what they want in this fearless format.
Yeah, exactly. If you're any team from solo queue to maybe even the top pros, this is a core that everybody absolutely loves. Now, on the opposite side, I'm questioning what jungle they can go for. J4, of course, does incredible into that bot lane, but has a bad matchup against the Xin Zhao. And also, if it's a 3 versus 3, I don't massively favor them. So maybe going for Psyche a little more aggressive could help. And talking about aggression, listen right there.
Looking for a little bit more aggressive, and Lee Sin gonna be the lock in. If I'm remembering this correctly, Lee Sin has not been changed yet, so that W
Nope.
cooldown, it is still getting refunded on champions, not on wards. So a little bit less playmaking. I feel like they might have picked this a patch early. Lee Sin is definitely not where he used to be once upon a time, but I'm always excited to see it. You know, that champion, the floor is subterranean, but the ceiling is the sky's the limit with that champion.
And honestly, it's about the pilot that you mentioned beforehand. ATU, such a powerful team. Their jungler being, I guess, the engine is the best way to describe him, making sure that the team can find a lead. And the champion like Lee Sin lets him exactly do that. And as well for solo queue, it's actually an S plus right now. So not a bad pickup at all.
S plus asterisk. You need mastery. That
Well,
feels like
yeah.
the champ. That he feels like he falls in the category of the Jaces, where the champ does scale. You get more damage the higher mastery you are. I don't care what it says on the tooltip. An EQ from a challenger Jace does more damage than an EQ from an emerald Jace. It just does. It has to. There's no way it's the same champion.
It's a bit like when we say it's the sandbag Lee Sin. It feels like he's sandbagging my games when he picks that champion. But in the second ban phase, it's looking like we're mostly getting rid of top laners who's able to be that big front line for the side of UCD, something like the Scion that's banned away, or even like an Ornn. On the opposite side for UCD, they're trying to ban away any AP mid laners, because when you have a Nami on the team, that brings a lot more priority to these mages that pair up well with it. Instantly, I think of Aurora with that burst damage, Ari as the other one to just try and bully out the Ashe Seraphine, so they still don't have any movement.
Yeah, threaten immobile, because if they're able to get their combos off, Ashe gets the guaranteed slow, Seraphine turns that into a root, into a stun, into a fight. It's very easy to play it out. Also, that is a Naafiri ban, so it will not be answered out with that high AD threat. Cycle of Sword, Zeds, and Naafiris, the two champions who are rocking that item at the moment, will be banned out alongside Scion, Fizz, and York, as you highlighted.
Yeah, and I'm curious about the Syndra pick, because Syndra doesn't do too well in Ari in the early game. It's more about that late game threat of Scatter the Weak plus a Seraphine out on top, and they are just dead. So in the early game, Ari has priority, which allows Lee Sin to do a whole lot more around the map. And I'm starting to see how ATU could actually be focusing more towards the top side if they want to have maybe a tank buster like the Yorick that they banned away. So it's very clear that UCD, they just want a tank in the top lane. And when I think of one, most likely that Ornn.
Yeah, Ornn, a very reasonable pick on that one. They're going to use every single second of their time, opting into Bruiser variation. Aatrox going to be the final pick here for UCD.
Yeah, and now this pivots ATU to be less of a tank buster top laner, and more that can fight against the Aatrox. Like a Jax can do pretty well up there. I've seen a few people enjoy even the Zillion top lane because you can stop Aatrox from moving about, but most likely not. But UCD very much have said, we want a team fight. We're all playing around that. While the opposite side for ATU, it feels more like they're playing for this top side, looking for these picks and playing for that 1-3-1.
It is going to be Yone R5 here for ATU. And I want to see your take on that one, because that feels like a bit of a gamble.
Yeah, I feel like the whole team's a gamble. We talked about the sandbag Lee Sin. We'll see if the ATU Lee Sin is very strong instead. Same for Ari in the mid lane. You need to make plays early, otherwise you get outscaled. Yone versus Aatrox. The early game's difficult. You also, of course, have that Q3. You have the E for the movement. There's way to outplay the sweet spots onto Aatrox, but you have to know the matchup. If you mess up, slightly walk too far forward, Aatrox will just one you down. The only time that he gains priority is around that first item at Bork, and that's the whole thing with ATU. Once they get their first items, think about how powerful that team is going to be against UCD, and we completely forget about that bot side.
It is going to also be keep an eye on flashes, because in a world where you can flash so many critical spells for ETU, Sonic Wave, Ari Charm, Yone ult, even, I mean, you could say Nami Wave, but I'm sure you can brisk walk away from that spell. These are skill shots. They are not guaranteed. So this is a very, very much keep in mind of your flash is your lifeline through this game.
And it's difficult because we usually don't talk about the rank differences between these people, but ATU are solidly a rank or two below UCD. That's the reason why MU was able to get into this position and UCD or ATU were able to slot in here. when you're playing such high mechanical champions, you have to make the game messy. And that's the one thing ATU have on their side. When you play at different ranks, there's different ways that games play. Sometimes you don't do the most optimal thing, which allows your Lee Sin to maybe get behind them at level 2 or 3 without them expecting it. So ATU, if they want to win this game, it's about getting messy and it's about getting dirty.
Absolutely. Just make it as much of a scrap as you can, not only because you are in an uphill battle in terms of ranks, in terms of mastery, but also in terms of your champions. Play skirmishes, pull them apart. You have the capabilities of gathering huge leads. And yes, this is a short notice team that's been assembled, slotting in on this one. However, you can still build gold leads and snowball out of control, and Smolder will be the one to get you over the line. So ATU aren't on a timer. They do have the ability to make quick plays, and they will fall off, but if that's invested in the right places, they can maybe look for an upset quite comfortably.
Yeah, and you mentioned it perfectly, saying they haven't been a team that's been together for too long. That is actually playing to their strength, because ATU have very much said, okay, we don't know how to play as a team properly, so let's just not. Let's just all pick champions, which we're very good at, with decent lanes. Ari versus Syndra, pretty decent. Yone versus Aatrox, counter matchup. Bot lane, sure, but they are the supporting act until the late game. ATU have literally set themselves up for, if we are better, we can win. The way I think it's done is by Ari gaining prio, Yone having the 1v1 against Aatrox, picking one kill up there and just letting that snowball, while you have your Lee Sin going towards the enemy jungle and just bullying out that Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao isn't the same champion he was about a year ago. Yes, he's got that bruiser that I talked about with the AP variant. That still doesn't beat a Lee Sin early.
No, it absolutely doesn't. And it's pretty easy to find coordination and synergy as a team. If someone is charmed, or if someone is Yone ulted, or if they're locked down, you can very comfortably just pick your fight, front to back it, and have the numbers advantage. And let's call a spade here. UCD, heavy favorites, absolutely. But for ATU, you can't count them out quite yet. Summoner's Rift on screen. Thank you to our friends over at GamerFest and Red Ball for powering us up of the first UCD taking on ATU. Zath, I'm looking forward to this one.
I'm doing good, as always. I was actually doing pretty good yesterday. Went to a concert and I did actually have a Red Bull then, just to get myself through it. Fortunately, today I feel more energized and I'm ready for this 5 versus 5. Remember, this is a super important game. Everybody at home, think about your dreams of playing on stage, being towards these tournaments and actually getting to see your friends. It's not just a good day out. It could actually be one of the best days of your life. You're able to win here. And of course, win the finals once you get to GamerFest.
LANs are always the best part of the season, right? That's really what we are here for, right? The competitions is a lot of fun, but the LAN it's just different gravy. And as we see a couple of autos coming through, why do you ask me, Chunk and Deluge down to half HP? 1 minute and 18 seconds in, your Smolder is a 3rd HP and no pot.
Yeah, fortunately, still has the heal and the W available for Spoding on that Nami, so the damage won't be able to stick as much as you want.
Flash auto pull him in, and the passive gets it done. No ignite needed. Aatrox sees the counter pick and shuts it down.
See, I do absolutely love how both of these people said, yeah, we're both just not going to ignite. We'll just flash away and we'll just call it even. But really great play from the Aatrox. And the important thing about this top lane matchup is, yes, Yone does win later into the game. The only problem is, the more times he dies, a lot harder it is to actually get to a point where you find that lead. And because this team and this top lane needs to snowball ahead, UCD have basically stopped that already, letting their bot lane just keep bullying out while the rest of the lanes still are winning.
Yone has 3 CS. I know there's a big wave crashing underneath the tower, but he's got 3 CS in 2.5 minutes. Top lane is horrifying already.
Yeah, you can feel the pain as we're going to see HE15 go for that reset up towards the top side. I'm going to be curious on what he wants to build, because you can go for the variant of, wait a second, this is so much damage. He has the option of going for those boots, first of all, the armor boots to stop the damage coming through. But if you're already winning this hard, why don't you just wait to get a pickaxe and just bully them more?
Yeah, just especially if you're so comfortable hitting sweet spots as it seems this Aatrox is, just continue to leverage your lead. Sure, plated steel caps feel pretty good into double 80 topside, but if you're winning your lane and you feel like you can get away with it, go for it, absolutely.
It's only been 2.5 minutes, almost 3 at this point, and he is just bullying out this Yone in the top side. Has actually gone for that new item to get a bit of damage back. Maybe the Doran Shield would have been the better option.
I mean, it's just tough, right? You're playing double AD melee champions. If you start losing, there's a dive potential brewing. You see walking forwards, getting the shield, Polo, Ignite will go through and gets the trade kill. An overstep from Aatrox. Yone makes him pay.
Yeah, especially when he had that Triumph proc, keeping him alive. So now it's going to be 1-for-1 in that top side, push out that wave, and yes, it will still be 10 CS down, but that is so much better than what it could have been. While in the mid lane, still even trades, as both junglers will be giving up to have one of those Skull Crabs each.
Ooh, a potential exhale here for the Smolder, who was slowed, and then the spell missed from Sarah. That was going to be a root, and that was going to be a whole heap of damage, possibly a cleanse. So a little bit of getting away with something down there for the Smolder.
Yeah, because of course the big combination of the Ashe Seraphine isn't just the poke damage they deal, it's that when Ashe slows somebody, it gives the opportunity for one Seraphine E to hit that stun, allow them to just walk them down and make their life hell.
Speaking of walk down, Spudding has 0 mana to work with, and both pots expended to Seraphine's 2 pots and 2/3 health bar. Support can use their health bar to bully out, and Ashe Seraphine, I mean, famous for a reason.
Yeah, and they still have a bit of mana themselves to just clear out this wave and find themselves to reset. Yet again, constant fighting towards the top side, but you can see the difference between that first play and that last one, actually going even on the amount of damage.
Man, this is going to be Lee Sin coming on through, trying to go for the E slow, cripple, Tempest, connects the Sonic Wave, waiting for the Q2, and finds it. Good nerves from Lee Sin. Getting the slow first, don't just throw out the first Q, he gets it done.
Yeah, and it was even smarter play being or knowing that this top lane is an absolute bloodbath. You need to get your Yone ahead, because once he's ahead, he's just going to constantly keep winning against the Aatrox. Now, he has finally reached level 6, unfortunately, if he makes a play straight away before Aatrox can get there, there's actually a chance that he can use that advantage and keep pushing it forward.
And look at that huge wave that crashed, right? 36 to 31 is leagues away from, I think he was he didn't even get the first wave in whole, and now he's within a single wave.
Down. Exactly. It's a huge difference on how this top lane has worked out. However, the bot lane still very strong on the side of UCD. Level 5 and level 4 close to getting to that point once they have their ultimates. Their big goal is to start stacking these dragons and forcing those team fights that ATU very much don't want to deal with.
It's going to be a bit of a fight over the Wolves. Mids moving, and they all have the information. That's a big ward to avoid the face check. Connecting the scatter all the same. Charm lands, waiting for that Spirit Rush. Fight on 2 fronts. Spudding's getting pushed out. Heal spent. It's going to be a flash away from the Ahri, as now Deluge is going to be jumped on with that Ranger's Focus. Why do you ask me? Going to push them on out. No further bloodshed, but all mobility spent for ATU's mid.
As well, Ahri's mid laner has not got that ultimate available compared to Scatter the Weak. They got Prior bot lane, they got Prior in the mid lane. Their best option now is just to push this wave out and force that first objective, because there's nobody on the side of ATU that can deal with this, especially when your mid jungle isn't finding the lead they're meant to find in this early game.
No, not for lack of trying. To the credit of this Lee Sin, Cowd has been everywhere. Scatter lands, power unleashed. Volteer surviving on double digits. Ahri not punished for the lack of mobility.
Yeah, but doesn't find the kill, but does do their job. Priority in the mid lane. Ahri can't play the game. Forces the enemy team to just back off this dragon. First one will go to UCD. Fortunately, Lee Sin has plenty of camps to farm up and will go for that mid lane play, but a good scare of the week is they won't be able to find it.
Plenty of camps to farm, but none of them give 300 gold, so
that's true.
A cheeky look from Lee, but yeah, as he is going to be crossing on over, trying to pick up enemy camps and counter jungle to the best of his ability to make him pay for Drake.
Yeah, he can't actually take too much of the enemy jungle because you see how far up Aatrox is and no mid laner to help him.
Flash auto. Aatrox, even before the fight begins, flashes in, ignites, World Ender, brings Polo Mint down.
Yeah, not able to do anything against that. Now Lee Sin is in isolation on the Krug towards the top side. Lee Sin, or sorry, Xin Zhao up there pinging, trying to get on top of him. Will actually do so.
It's going to be a little bit of a step away, but nothing much more to be had. Cowd's so slippery. I mean, he still has flash, he still has kick, no real threat.
Close there. Actually did get the flash out of the Aatrox, who tried to make that play happen. But with that priority, there's a possibility of getting themselves those void grubs if they do choose so. While this bot lane is just the constant same thing of Smolder and, of course, the Nami in the bot lane, trying to heal up, stay alive, as now the ultimates are available for, of course, the Ashe and the Seraphine. No cleanse available as well. If they ever land one of those abilities, that bot lane is just dead.
Yeah, absolutely. Just popped in. Speaking of those abilities, that's the Crystal Arrow into an Encore. Spudding will be fed to the Wolves, and down from there is now Cowd. He's going to be finding himself a fight on the Void Grubs, dashing away with the Spirit Rush 3v3. But this is a very lopsided affair. UCD definitely has the power. 3-man Yone ult, but where's the follow? Charm in afterthought. Maybe a Q connect, but you can't take that. 2-man scatter. Slime Man waiting to go for another one. Cowd just has to flash double kill the mid. It's an execute for Lozy. So, okay, bloodshed starting to flow here. That's dust settles, Zath. Where do we even stand on that?
Yeah, the big problem I'm finding with UCD in the top side is just they are on the same page compared to ATU, where they wanted to fight top lane, but they wanted to escape. And with all that going wrong, the main winner of it is Slime Man 2, Syndra in the mid lane, 2-0. Once they find themselves a reset, they should have that first item completed. And even in that top side, BG15 getting themselves another tower plate, putting themselves in a position where if both he resets and the Syndra, they could be on their first items, having the first power spike of the game.
And that, remember that 20 CS lead that you said had evaporated after the failed dive? I think we found it again.
Yeah, and I think they're even better off before that. Only because take a look at what he can do in this 1v1. Aatrox just bullying him out again.
Underneath his tower and through his shield, he's winning trades.
Yeah. Power of Aatrox in the early game, especially when he has gone for more of a lethality build. And this is what I'm a bigger fan of. It means that he can just do things like this.
World Ender and Sweet Spot does get the flash out of Yone. He had Q3 coming, but it wasn't going to be in time, and so he is forced to use the Sum. And that is a potential dive brewing once again, and it's just going to be a single spell. Top lane, a Kingdom is why you ask he's going to be stepping forwards. Cowd now in a whole heap of trouble, dying for the sins of his bot lane as 4 men descend. Smolder's got half HP, throwing out a tidal wave. Lozy hunting, but does not end up throwing out that Encore. Couple seconds left on CD is the difference maker.
Yeah, good Slime Man, just so close.
Oh, man. Yes, Syndra may have said, all right, your enchanter may let you live, but not so much on the full-on mage.
I mean, once you have a double kill in your pocket, have that first item. Goodbye to any AD carry or anyone who is at low HP. 8-2, almost 5,000 in the gold lead, and it feels like everywhere is winning out. Zinzel supporting the team, Seraphine the same. And you've got to start questioning, where can they find their lead on ATU? They have huge damage once they get to those first items, but nobody on the team has reached it just yet. And Smolder as well, we want him to try and be stacked at that 21, latest 23-minute mark. The Sandbag, I'm scared they might get that only at 25.
Yeah, he's also not given the easiest lane in the world to stack on as Pulamil's trying to bait a little bit here. He's got Lee Sin in his back pocket. This isn't exactly like a Tom Kench or an Alistar where you can just comfortably throw spells at him. Every time you step up for one of those Qs or one of those snot bubbles, you're paying dearly for it.
Especially when you can just get run down. The question is, do you want to go for maybe Swiftness boost to help it?
Oh.
Top lane.
Ignite, and the shield goes the wrong way, so that some will finish him off. A nice Encore connecting here onto the Nami. Why you ask me throwing out a spell of their own, but still enough depth under tower. No dive to be had, and 2 ultimates spent. Spudding is able to walk it off.
Especially when it's heal up in just a second. Same with that W and even that Nami ultimate. There's actually a window here where if they both combo those ultimates, they might be able to find a kill here, but they have to play it perfectly.
Yeah, Lozy is the one who you have to try and look for. His Deluge Mine's not going to be in some trouble. Throwing out that tidal wave, flap over the wall. But now that is one lonely dragon. Nami's abandoned. Lozy trying to cut him off, and this is likely going to be a dive. Can Lee Sin get there in time? It looks like just a straight up dive. Q stack, Lozy, and finished off. Ult, not in time. Seraphine gets paid.
Yeah, that was a smart play from the Ashe and Seraphine to understand that there was an outplay potential. So what they had to do was poke him out before any of that could happen. Now another fight.
Clouds unleashed power into his back and swiftly slain. Drake likely going to be a freebie as Yone ultimate's going to be a swing and a miss. Passive auto. Aatrox 5-2-2. Hubris stacking. UCD starting to run away with it.
Yeah, either going to get that bot lane tower from that play, but UCD just absolutely bullying ATU, understanding exactly what they want to do and countering it, winning bot lane, pushing that in towards their second dragon at 13 minutes. Should be able to get that soul just before 25. It's mid lane.
Does have flash away from that Q, just a casual sidestep. A little bit of swag on the walk out and surviving some in hand. Trying to bait for sputting. Slime Man currently in a 1v3 charm. Will connect, waiting for the follow-up. Does not find a bubble. Sidestepping as best they can. Orbit Deception. Volt is likely going to fall here with one more combo. Auto attacks and W, but will get walked down. Ari gets her shut down. Smolder dead in the meantime.
And it's just going to be an even trade. However, it depends how many tower plates they can get onto the back of it. Seraphine and Ashe haven't reset for about 5 minutes, have a lot of gold in their pockets. While towards the top lane, I'm not sure they could even kill this 2 or 3 versus 1.
They're bringing 4 though. The mid laner is coming up, and I think they might with the 4-man. So 8G1S just walking that one off.
I absolutely love how there could have been a possibility to run him down, but because of how strong he is with the hubris and half an item on him, they were like, no, even though we are behind, we think we're so far behind, we can't even 4 versus 1.
It's also the vision line. You see on the minimap down there, red wards completely absent inside that river, so you don't know what you're chasing into. That dark is scary.
Yeah. Very scary indeed, as we will be having next dragon in about 3 minutes time. Gives both of these teams time to scale into the game. Those first items we mentioned have been completed by the Ari and by the Lee Sin. This is the major power spikes where they might have damage.
Speaking of damage, Slime Man hit a rotation and Smolder died. That's simply it on that fight, as Lozy might be the recipient of a charm. A sidestep away from that one. Has flash and heal. Walk down slowly. Throwing out the encore. Charmed up. Reinforcements in the form of Slime Man will not arrive. And Lozy shut down ATU's mid. Gets their second of the game.
Yeah, when you have Malignance in your pocket, even if you do miss all abilities, if you hit your R and Ari, they will just die. However, UCD doing a nice counter with it because of how long that took. They will be able to get themselves the Rift Herald and still have priority in the mid lane just because Ashe still has that Crystal Arrow available and Ari doesn't have that ultimate to try and bully her for not having a flash.
It is a budding bright point, but a bright point nonetheless. Mid lane is going to be what you have to play off of. Charms are pretty much all you got. As top lane, what you see is what you get.
Yeah, and I was going to say, we can kind of take stock of the situation as mid lane.
Yeah, stock of the situation is Smolder finds himself with a gray screen, as you were saying.
Well, we can first of all say UCD absolutely smashing. But I wanted to take a look at the summoner spells available. No flash on 3, even 4 now of the major carries. BG15, sure, can't 1v4 him. Maybe let's leave him to the side. But Ashe, Seraphine, and Syndra, all immobile carries, don't have their flashes available. If they can find a chance to maybe pick them off with a Lee Sin kick, maybe an Ari charm, that's the way that they can get back into the game. They just have to find these very small moments and start taking them.
Yeah, he has Kick Flash. We haven't been able to see that Dragon's Rage really used effectively yet. So if you're trying to link up with your mid jungle, I need to see that come out, or you are slowly going to just bleed out resources.
Yeah, Sandbag, I hate to say it, but I feel like we haven't seen Smolder get anywhere near where we need them to be. 25 minutes, most likely where those stacks are coming through. And I'm kind of concerned that we won't even reach that point, as UCD have got themselves a 10,000 gold lead.
Yeah, this one is a commanding lead for UCD. You have to start looking for creative angles, looking for people stepping. I feel like Lozy's the only one that you can comfortably just isolate and blow up. But even at that, never really finding themselves in a position to be done.
And you've got to start asking questions about, okay, fortunately, we're not going to have to see these champions next game. What is the way that ATU can position themselves to be ready for that second game? Because remember, this is only a best of 3. If ATU lose this game, as it's looking like they will, they only have one more game before they are fully done yet again here. in the Irish Collegiate Series. UCD very commanding position, 2 items on all major carries, except for, of course, their jungler, who you can probably say is more of a support this game. Dragon will be up in about a minute's time, as they are looking most likely for an inhibitor. That's the thing I want to see. Push out the mid lane, focus towards these side waves, and start taking more gold in this map.
If you're Cynex, you just look at the top of your screen and go, all right, well, we got Grubs and Herald, both dragons. All right, that's my job done in this one, as Polo Mint once again on the receiving end of the World Ender, throwing out that Yone ultimate, but unfortunately his fate is most definitely sealed. Dominating in the raid boss en route. This is a 1v3 situation, forcing a flash away from Spudding. Here comes the tidal wave. Members jump on in. Deluge Mine just doesn't have the damage, who's forced to cleanse away. Heal spent as well. 3 men are putting autos in. Another bubble, another tidal wave. The auto, and look at the passive heal. AG1S. 1v3 after the kill on the top laner is going to be eating forwards. Bold dash, smolder damage, absolutely not there. Walks them back to base.
Yeah, by the time they almost get him to a quarter with his
Slime man.
That's that support.
Okay, speaking of a little bit of brightness though, Voltveer still getting things done. He's cracked in the meantime.
Yeah, and Slime Man getting that flash out of them as well, meaning that play can be repeated once they is back up and available. But even though they made a great play towards the bot side, they are still losing on the map. Top lane doesn't even die. They almost get themselves the inhibitor tower in the mid lane. Actually still looking for it. They don't even have any ultimates to try and stop it.
Ari en route. You kind of just gotta go here. This is the best opportunity that you have, but no meaningful engage tools. It's gonna be face checking into the Aatrox. Sweet spot 2, 3. Auto and down, godlike for the god killer, AG1S. That's just top kingdom.
Yeah, Syndra coming in with that teleport. 1 scared a week plus the ultimate. At least 1 member will die on the side of ATU, while ATU is still waiting for those ultimates. Nami wave only just coming back up. Ari's ultimate still another 30 seconds away. Lee Sin's ultimate just coming back up themselves. I think their best opportunity is just holding and waiting for that perfect moment and just trying to pick anyone off.
That is the upside. The downside is, I feel like Aatrox is liking his chances in a 1v4. The straight up 1v4, I think he has it at this point in time. The arrow's gonna fly out, connecting onto Lee Sin. Long range encore bounces. Great layering from UCD. Get the alley-oop, and that's their smite dead for 30.
Exactly, they picked off the most important member. ATU not having any way to stop this Baron if they want to start it. Of course, it is still very risky. 1 Yone ultimate, 1 bad play, and Smolder can just get back into the game, and that's the most important thing.
Lozy is going to be jumped on and isolated. No reinforcements quite yet. Flash and dead. Another pick here. Mid lane once again, trying to hold the door the best they can.
And it seems like they're the only shining piece of this team, being able to find anything in this absolute chaos. Now, the thing is, with the Yari, 2 items in the pocket, has themselves the Proto Belt as top lane. It's just, this is rough.
This is just bullying at this point in time. Polo Mint will get the ult off, but waiting for the wind become lightning. Tip of the spear, buried in back. Cynex on a killing spree.
And Sandbag, I've heard many tales about a Yasuo. A Yasuo that went 0-10 and won a game. Now, of course, Yasuo and Yone are brothers, very similar, share the same blood. Maybe that could be true here.
That's a very good question. I don't think 10... Oh, okay, good flash here from the Ari. Does 10 Death's Power Spike work on Yone?
I feel like it's not as powerful, but you get those residual feelings of it.
You get like mini crits, like a small buff, like a secondary buff, I guess.
It's a bit like, you know, Kha'Zix versus Rengar. You know, when you get the extra bit of damage, 1 extra stack on either your Headhunter or one of your abilities, it feels placebo like that.
Voltveer, however, going to be going into a 1 versus 2. A lot of sidestepping, but the spells are targeted. That's going to be a kill. Looking towards this Baron. They're not in a position to hit it immediately, and Leeson might be able to make his way over.
Yeah, Ash does 2.5 items. Doesn't have that Infinity Edge, though. That would absolutely speed up the quickness of this Baron. It hasn't been spotted just yet. They need to walk in here. The only problem is they still have that Encore. They still have the Zinzao ultimate. Ways to keep them out this pit.
Yeah, Nami doesn't have any wards. Lee Sin has 1 of his own and a pink. trying to find his way onto Lozy, but it will be finished in time. UCD able to secure the big purple worm as Charm's gonna land. Full combo, gets half of the health bar of Aatrox, and now it's his turn. That's gonna be legendary for the top laner. And that's gonna be all she wrote on this one. Dragon's Rage is futile. Polamint is beat down by his opposite number. Just finished off in style, and that is likely gonna be a march down mid wearing purple.
Yeah, there's only one member alive, and it is the support of the Nami. Only level 10. Can't do anything against this onslaught. 18 seconds, 10 seconds for the Smolder. Maybe there's a chance to defend it. But UCD from start to finish have been clinical, showing why they want to get themselves to Gamerfest and want to win all of this Irish Collegiate Series.
Looking like a very imposing team, putting the finishing touches on what was effective dominance from minute 1. And the Alamo has started, clearing the wave as best as they can, opting for a little bit of safety here. Charm goes astray, Sonic Wave the same, and yet ATU is able to push them out of their base for now and will successfully repel the attack. They live to fight another day, however, Soul will be kind.
Exactly. That's what they want to get this. So ATU have to find a way to stop it, but they have to get through an Aatrox first, which is completely
We might get our
unkillable.
1v5. We might get our 1v5. Top lane's gonna be getting their first so far, dashing into another 3-man. Slime Man dead in the meantime, and here comes AGS. It's gonna be another kill to the Aatrox. Get the passive auto. Does he have any further chase down? The Charm is gonna stop the rampage. The raid boss has arrived, shepherding them into their base. Aatrox walking him down. Charm lands, and Smolder's got an ATU with his name on it. No chains land, and they will walk it off for now.
Yeah, ultimate.
Arrow lands, kick flash with the insect into the back lines, and it's a shutdown for Smolder, who gets one off the fountain dive. The last steps of the fountain will be the end of this one. They dive to pad the DPS. Shoulder gets a pair of kills, but it's not gonna do a thing. Bunning picks up one of their own, and UCD's gonna find a way to stall this. TP channeled, Polamint looking for their third of the game onto Lozy's gonna recall, snapping back with that soul inbound. Here comes Slime Man, scout of the week, waiting for the power unleashed, and gets the execute mid lane. Still has some juice in the spell. Spudding can only watch as the Nexus is chipped down by creeps. 3 seconds on Cowd, making it a full-on ace. Winions to cap it off, a little bit of sauce on the end, but 25 minutes, UCD 1-up.
Yeah, and UCD in convincing fashion as well. They knew the team comp they wanted, and they executed it perfectly. Now, Sandbag, coming into this second game, questions start to be having had. How do ATU get back into this? Because their mid lane played exceptionally well towards the mid and late game, found those picks, but wasn't able to do anything more with it because the team was just too far behind. I think playing this aggressive style is the way to go forward, but they need to have counter pick in some of these lanes because it felt like that Aatrox, they just didn't know how to deal with.
Yeah, Aatrox definitely out of control. I think the way that you're going to look at it is mid was a bright point, top lane was out of control. You play something neutralizing, stable top lane, right? Think your Gragas's, your Ornns, stabilize top lane, play off mid, play risky. Just take your gambles, take your coin flips, and if you can hit a couple of those big engages, those, honestly, play in our comp, right? Thinking your MFs of the world, you're playing your Wukongs, your Leonas. If you can get a big wombo and you can take your fights, maybe David can slay Goliath, because right now Goliath is looking like they have a one-way ticket towards this Dublin Gamerfest.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. Simplicity is the aim of the game for me for ATU later on, because remember, one more game, you talked about it, Gamerfest is on the line. We all want to be there, mostly for the pub afterwards, or at least that's my answer to that question. For Sandbag, we still have one more game to go. I think they can do it.
We absolutely will. We will be cutting to a quick break to get set up. ATU looking to strike back, and UCD looking to wrap this one up. Don't go anywhere. Game 2 right after this.
Ireland's biggest gaming event returns to the RDS Dublin. Join us at Gamerfest this May 23rd and 24th for an epic weekend of gaming action. Play the latest games, step into the driver's seat with cutting-edge racing sims, build your world in Minecraft, and drop into the action with Fortnite. Connect with the Irish gaming community and share the moment with creators and special guests. Compete at the highest level by taking your shot in esports tournaments all weekend long, including the Minecraft Build Challenge. Discover unique finds in the GamerFest marketplace, explore Artist Alley, and experience the creativity powering the community. Bring gaming to life at GamerFest this May 23rd and 24th at the RDS Dublin. Get your tickets now at gamerfest.ie.
And welcome back. Game 2, UCD taking on ATU here. Winner books their ticket to GamerFest. Loser watches it in Twitch chat. Draft on screen. Seth, how we doing?
Stand back. That is very harsh saying watch it for Twitch now. They can watch it in person. Thank you very much. Even if you don't win, of course, please come to GamerFest. We've done a couple of them. Maybe not GamerFest, but Dublin Comic Con. Absolutely incredible time going to any of these sort of things. And honestly, I want everyone there. You know?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Tickets are still available. Listen, it sounds way funnier when you get to say, you know, you watch it from Twitch chat. Tickets are still available. I think we just crossed over 90% sold, so there's only a handful left. You want to get those soon. But it sounds way funnier if it's either get to the tournament or watch from Twitch chat. Like, listen, it's just let me sell it.
Okay, but Sandbag, here's the thing, right? As gamers, people usually don't get to go out, don't get to have that experience. And honestly, you see how much joy it brings me to go to another country, commentate League of Legends. Come on, I wanna meet some of you guys, understand your love for this game as well. So please do get the opportunity to come out, enjoy yourself, have a bit of fun. And as a game design person myself, get to play, do plenty of different things there. But enough promoting that. I care for League of Legends more than a silly old meet in person to play League. We will be having a Varus first pick into the Melio. Melio, of course, a great counteraction with the ultimate, saying hell nah to you. Now, one of the best people with the Melio is something like a Zeri. You can even go for a Tristana if you want hard engage. The question is, what do they want? And instead, it's going to be a Jinx, making me think, UCD, if they're trying to stop you, why don't you just go for full engage into them and just make sure they're playing a living hell?
Exactly. Try and make sure you have something that does not get negated by the Melio, though. That is something worth considering. If you're trying to play these engaged champions, but it's telegraphed, and then you have to try and fight your way through not only his cleanse, but his Q, it can be much tougher to try and work your way on in. They're opting for the strongest CC in League of Legends, Death.
The gray screen. Yep.
It's guaranteed they can't press any keys for their champions that they have at the moment.
And the best part as well is ATU are both mobile towards the spot lane. So you put them in the barrel with the J4 ultimate. And then even if none of your ultimates actually hit or any of your CC, Luxus presses are and they are just dead. It is not a fun time at all. Now, ATU, one of the best counters against J4 is something like a Trundle. But Trundle hasn't been picked a lot. You want someone who is very aggressive. And Warwick is exactly that. My only concern is, if he gets CC'd and Melio isn't nearby, it's going to become rather difficult.
Warwick is wild to me.
I love it. I genuinely love it.
I genuinely enjoy this kind of champion, but who are you sustaining off of? Because that's typically what you look at for a Warwick is you want somebody low CC, high HP that you can just turn them into a walking health bar. You just get your Jaws of the Beast off, you get your passive autos off. Varus, looking to one-shot you with those blight stacks. Lux, the same. J4 can REQ and trap you in the bucket and then get out himself. This feels like suspect to me as much as I do love the champion.
Now, he needs support. I think that's the big thing you're getting at is if Warwick is going in alone, completely agree. He gets put in the bucket. He's not having a fun time. But if they can have a champion that wants to engage alongside him, like the massive Ornn ultimate coming over the top, even a Gragas displacing it, that's where Warwick thrives the best. So I think the best option is pick up your mid lane on that R4, get it someone who wants to go in, something maybe like a Silas or something that can just be super aggressive. One side of UCD, you just want to keep range. So maybe, I don't love Galio in this situation, maybe a Victor, even a Lissandra, any champion like this that can just support your team by playing at range.
Do you pick blind top here and just say, give Voltaire the keys to the castle?
Sion's available. There's no reason why you can't just pick that up. Give your keys towards, of course, the mid laner you mentioned beforehand.
It looks like they're going to opt between door number 1, the Silas you called out. Elected and picked. Silas going to be the option here for mid lane.
Sad Mag, I feel warmed up.
He's pulling these ones before they happen. I'm liking it. I'm liking it.
Yeah, get our preparation done, making sure that we are ready for, of course, GamerFest. Now, Silas, a few different ways to play against it. You could try fight the fire with fire, go something like a Carly, or you could just play range. Something like Zeph, very strong into it. Of course, have that E with that CC to stop them from engaging. But of course, another option is that Galio, that massive wombo combo of J4 Ultimate, Galio on top, Lux Ultimate. My only problem is Silas can steal all of those ultimates and use it himself.
He can, but it's nowhere near as threatening. J4 is a very specific flavor of champion. If you're thinking Silas, you're thinking stuff like Alistar ult, right? Amumu ult, some of those huge AP juiced ones. J4 is, yeah, you're stuck in a bucket, you're stuck in Cataclysm, but it's not the same kind of imposing. We're picking, on everything I just said, we're picking Teemo.
Okay, let's wait for the final pick. And while we do that, let me tell you why Teemo could work.
Shiv.
What does Teemo do really well? He uses the blind to deal damage. Warwick, auto attacks, you stop that. Jinx, auto attack, you stop that. Silas has some auto attacks, of course, because of his passive, stops that. There's possibility of this working out. The only question is this Galio and Teemo flexible? If the answer is no, they are cooked. Because Gragas into Galio is okay. Gragas into Teemo is genuinely just dead. The gray screen is their best trend.
The Gragas that we highlighted at the very beginning before we went to break. Gragas up in that top side. You know what? You have your moments much more often than me, but I feel like I get some of these, right?
Yeah.
Gragas is going to be the stabilizing, neutralizing force, and ATU's comp is lopsided as all anything. But I feel like it's worth throwing the curveball.
Yeah, 100%. And when we talk about Merc Shreds value, oh my God, I'm picking Merc Shreds. I'm picking them up from any store that is available. You got a Teemo, you got a Galio, and a Lux. Yes, please. But when I'm looking at both of these compositions, UCD, the game plan simple, win top lane in isolation, rest of the team use that wombo combo. While on the opposite side for ATU, make it dirty and make it messy. I think their best goal is use their mid lane, try to go for a 2 versus 2 fight. Because when you have a Galio J4 versus Warwick, Warwick can physically win that 1 versus 2 at that point. So use the priority, play towards the bot side afterwards, and start looking for these tower dives. That is their best bet. And ATU, you want to come GamerFest and have a good time, you better win here.
Absolutely. I am looking forward to this one. And I just want to I understand the blind for the Teemo. I'm just going to get on my soapbox for a moment. Every once in a while we have these, right, as we get loaded on in Champion Select. They're going to have to get themselves sorted out. Teemo's blind is the least of the problems right now.
True.
He picks up Shiv, autos the Gromp 400 meters away from you, and you still take his passive E. Yeah. That lightning bolt feels like it snaps to you from just kilometers away from you. So yes, Greg is a great neutralizer, stabilizer. You're spamming out the rabble rousing, the healing. The wave is just exploding though. So unless you're able to get those last hits in, which is tough to do with Gragas under tower until you get some AP behind you, you can just start falling so far behind, not off of combat, but of your tower just stealing your last hits off you.
Yeah, and that's a really good question because top lane is one of the unique lanes where you can actively decide not to play lane. One by having incredible wave clear like Teemo. The other one is doing the bounce and just standing behind their tower, clearing the wave and then recalling. Now with the Teemo, of course, he needs to have that first item static shiv. It takes him probably around 8 minutes to get that. By that time, Gragas can be level 6, and once he hits level 9, that's when he can just blow up the wave himself, unless it's a cannon wave, which gets to the point where both of them will just fully clear the waves, and what can they do when they join their teams? So let's look at the 3 versus 3 top side. You have the Galio J4 against a Warwick, Silas, and Gragas. Sandbag, you don't have to be no genius to understand that ATU are winning that if they're even. So even though Teemo has priority, I don't think he's doing much with it.
Yeah, unless you're killing Warwick on the spot, if you're able to pick him off first, lock him down with the Galio combo, the blind that you highlight, UCD still have tools of shutting down Warwick. But if you burn that first rotation and the Warwick is still stood, you run. Just run for the hills. You probably can't even do that with his W passive, but absolutely ATU. That said, UCD in game 1. This is the elephant in the room. Drafts are great, but you play League of Legends with nameplates. You can disable them, but they're still there. And UCD looked like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, 100%. And talking about confidence to coming out from UCD, their top laner beat ATU's top laner and made him go 1-11. Usually, when you play Yasuo or Yone, when you're 1-11, you at least have 2 items so you can kill somebody. This man didn't even have 1.5. Domination up towards the top side. And now we're playing against Teemo. You know there's some mental games going on. He probably has the little Devo Teemo skin, you know, on both sides of the shoulders, not even the main one. It is just going to be domination sandbag up towards the top side. If he finds a lead, the mental's going to be gone. And I think it might be already gone.
Landing into the Teemo VGU when he's spamming his little harmonica. It's I feel like the VGUs are underrated.
Okay, Teemo was one of the best.
Did anything change? No. Is the champion still fundamentally better than it was? Absolutely. It's like the cowbell, right? There are some Super Galaxy Rumble, Cowbell, Alistar, certain skins and certain VGUs just make the champion more enjoyable. For I would like to say for all parties, not for all parties. For at least one party is having more fun.
I was about to say, there's an interesting fact about Rumble and that skin. When I started playing League of Legends, it was around about 10 years ago now, and Galaxy Rumble was all the hype from every pro player. And as somebody new to League of Legends, I didn't know it was a skin. So I was playing the game being like, I want to play that champion. And then I saw the Rumble normal skin. And the polar opposite between them was honestly groundbreaking.
It's one of the champs that feels wrong to play without the skin. There's just certain skins absolutely feel better. Listen, you can clown on a lot of the cosmetics in this game. We'll get to the spaghetti Vel'Koz for the record. I don't know if you've seen that one yet.
I have.
What are the thoughts?
Well, quickly before the spaghetti Vel'Koz, absolutely love it. With that Rumble skin, you genuinely can't, you can either play with it or can't play without it, just because the quality of that Q, his flamethrower, you genuinely can't use that ability if you use the skin or not the skin. You won't understand until you try it, but onto the main point of the Vel'Koz, I love it. It's the same level as Draven for me. It's a bit of fun, it gives you enjoyment, and it makes you remember League of Legends can just be a video game for fun.
Isn't.
Yeah.
Can be.
It never is.
Isn't. Let's call a spade here. Absolutely is not. And you know what? Skins are a whole can of worms to be had here. Give us your prediction percentage. How much do you believe in the ATU weirdness? Because that's what we're banking on here, right? Warwick, Silas, just fist fight mid lane, try and get something going. What are we thinking?
Now, I'm not a gambling man. But if I had to gamble, and we have nameplates on, I still think UCD have a 60% win rate on this game, just because of how dominant they were. But when we look at the team comps holistically, the 40% might not be doing them justice. I think they have a very strong opportunity with that Warwick in the jungle. If he gets going, if he gets 1-2 items in his pocket, and he has that Melio behind him to stop any CC, there's no reason why he solo can't take the game if he has people like the Gragas and the Silas just to create a bit of space for him.
And I hear a little bit of Summoner's Rift in just a moment. And something worth noting, we have ourselves some role swaps.
Do we?
There are swaps happening behind the scenes. Deluge Mine was on the Smolder. Smolder is not known for his jungling capabilities. Lee Sin not known for his marksmanship, being blind and all. This is going to be a straight up swap jungle AD.
Now, we'll have to see if that's going to work out. Of course, everybody is good at different champions. Everybody's got their secondary role. And when you're in something like this, where you can't always pick the same champion because of fearless mode, it might make sense. Now, the bot lane, Lux and Varus will, of course, have priority into the early game. Melio doesn't have the best healing. Well, towards the mid lane as well, Galio wins against Silas early on, mostly because Silas has great burst damage, but has a lot of difficulties with that mana. So UCD, prio in top, prio mid, and prio in bot lane. Are they going to be able to leverage this and bully Warwick out? That's the big question, because if Warwick gets behind, ATU's team comp completely falls off a cliff.
Exactly. ATU from even, scrappy, fighting. ATU's comp from behind, absolutely not there, as the taunt's going to be channeled mid lane, and that's the Galio burst we like to see. The phase rush removal impacted Galio more than I think people realize. They highlight the Gragas as one of them, but this is absolutely not phase rush as we know and love.
Yeah, and we've actually got Deathfire Grasp in the mid lane on the Galio. I did actually, well, I wouldn't actually mind the Aftershock or maybe even the Electrocute, because you're starting to see these plays that usually the plays that Voltfear wouldn't be winning the mid lane. He actually is, and bullying out the Galio at the start of this game.
Chipping away on that one, as we do have our junglers. Opposite side clears the taunt. Good moving away from that tower shot as Voltfear is down to 100 HP, but gets the wave in, has TP. Opposite side clears. Warwick and J4 not going to be colliding as J4 looks to interrupt this one. Flag potential and gets the flash from mid. Chains connecting in the first tower shot, trading it on in. Kingslayer, it's a first blood to J4. Instant trade here from Silas.
Yeah, and Silas very happy with that play overall, can TP back to lane, doesn't lose anything, while Warwick on the opposite side gets to clear 2 extra clamps quicker than, of course, the J4. And the big goal is helping your Warwick to find a lead, and that's exactly what he's done.
He's going to be able to get a little bit more farm, a 1-for-1 trade, not the end of the world, but flash worth highlighting. Silas will not have that. Galio can flash taunt whenever he feels like. At 6, trying to find that play if E is ever down.
As bot lane does need to be careful here, does have Q.
Nice light binding connecting here is Cowd. He's going to be walking away from that one. Heal spent, super mega, and as you say, good flash, as we might be a little bit behind the curve on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Going to be a good play from them for sure. As the game, nothing major has happened so far. Now, even though they were able to get the kill back, the gold lead is in favor on the side of UCD, mostly just because of the priority we mentioned before. Top lane there, 30 to 13 CS, just showing how strong Teemo can be.
So we do have some trading out in this mid lane. Taunt's going to be connecting on that one, and Slime Man some good trading. Once again, Silas down, flash auto in the Winds of War. Slime Man picking that one up.
Yeah, just a complete overstep as he's trying to make a play. Bot lane now in danger.
It's going to be a possible dive here as we're going to be walking on in. Piercing arrow connecting onto Cowd. The dive complete, dropping the aggro. Cynex, the heated up tower shot will not fly as there's going to be some more combat in the mid lane. Deluge Mine, lethal tempo stacking. The chase down, flash auto, Justice Punch blocked. And a trade out for the Warwick.
Yeah, the game's turning scrappy. Warwick able to find a kill, still producing that lead, and even look for more towards the bot side.
He's going to be walking on into that one. Warwick getting some autos into Lozy, is rooted up and slain. Why do you ask me? Picking that one up. 4th kill of the game here for UCD.
Yeah,
Flash
one, the top
auto.
side.
Teemo does not take aggro somehow, even with the burn ticking.
Not going to be able to fall just yet towards the top side, but when we take stock of everything that's happened, Gragas was meant to hold out just a little longer towards the top side. That level 9 mark I mentioned, very far off it, still 4 levels off that. Teemo absolutely bullying, getting very close to having enough gold on that first item as that second tower plate will get taken towards that top side. While on the opposite side for UCD, they wanted to finally bot lane, and that's exactly what they've done. The concern is, if this Varus, who is lethality, gets too far ahead, no matter how strong your Warwick is, he is just dead if one of those arrows lands.
Going to be a little bit more combat down here in the bot lanes. They trade it back and forth, and nice sidestep on that piercing arrow.
Doing a great job there as why do you ask me, still can run him down. Doesn't of course have that ultimate up from Melio. Nice little sidestep, gets them out to safety, but it just feels like UCD with their poke lane is just such a huge side of ATU that they just can't deal with.
As we do have a Warwick en route, you see on the minimap play developing, trying to loop around behind Lozy. Slowed so far with the E. Why do you ask me? In retreat. Some shields from the Melio, but the fear does not land. They're going to be slowly walking this one away. Q connecting. Lozy trying to get the passive autos in. Cleanse out for the Jinx. Here comes the Galio. Reinforcements. 4-man pile in. Deluge Mine, the first one to fall. Spudding's forced to flash away. Support lives. The bind is great onto Jinx. Taunt killed. Down goes the AD carry. 4 men get the job done, bot.
Yeah, Warwick just didn't have enough in the tank, only has that tier mat available. With no boots, they can just run away, get themselves this wave underneath, get themselves even another tower plate, and even the dragon if they choose so. UCD with a commanding lead, 3,000, and at least 1,000 of that is in this bot lane.
Bot lane, absolutely lopsided. 26 CS in the difference, pair of kills, pair of assists, and moving their way on through this. Lizards are more than happy with the way things are going for UCD.
Yeah, and it's going to become even more scary. They're going to be able to pick up this dragon with no contestation, trying to stack them like before. They absolutely love these wombo combo team comps. Steamer in the top lane is being so annoying.
Body slam didn't land, and so he's going to take a whole heap of damage in the meantime. I feel like if he had that, he might look for a full all-in, but Polo Mint forced to bail.
Yeah, and you'd like to say, oh, just use the ultimate, but still down for another 30 seconds. Has to hold on, and once that's up, there's actually a decent chance of finding the kill. While towards his bot lane, Melio, no ultimate available just yet. Lux ever hits one of the bindings before that, they will just find that kill. And even better, we talked about the massive wombo combo. J4 puts them in towards the box. They're just dead.
Chains of Corruption, there's going to be a dogpile in, fight on two fronts as AG1S going to be killed up topside. Teemo down as they're looking for a 3v3 bot. Cataclysm on the 3, here's the combo! Two-man laser, it's immediately traded out. Anything you can do, I can do double. UCD picks up another pair.
Yeah, Worldfear trying to save the play, ulting towards the bot lane with that Galio ultimate, but it just feels too little too late. This bot lane has got way too far ahead. Now has to run for the hills himself and might even die.
Waiting for the E. No mana on piercing arrow attempt means that Why Do You Ask Me comes up short, but hey, you still get the wave in. You still really got what you wanted.
And once they find the resets, first item will be completed from this AD carry. While in the mid lane, Galio is just absolutely chilling. He used his ultimate, got his bot lane ahead, and now they're so far ahead, he just says, okay, why don't you guys just 2 versus 3? I'll get 2 tower plates, but we'll need to be careful here. There's, of course, Warwick versus Galio, very favorable for the Warwick.
Has red buff and autos and gets exactly 1/3 of Slime Man's HP despite all that.
Only the tier mat available. If he was able to run him down for longer, it would have looked so much better.
No flash. Warwick jumped on and slain. Now it's going to be a smite for a slow as now it's up to Silas to try and slip his way to safety. Has a cataclysm, but no flash. Likely going to be able to fizzle this play as top lane, explosive cast. Here comes the cataclysm, but no tower range. Means that it's going to be a sidestep from Galio. Voltveer gets a flash anyways out of Slime Man. And it's actually the Galio forced in retreat.
Now, fortunately for the Galio, he does have that teleport available, so nothing massive will come of this.
Meanwhile, bot lane's going to be a trade of ults. Chains of Corruption, Laser in return for Breath of Life as Voltveer connecting. He's up a level and he's got Deluge Mine en route. Here comes the Galio ultimate into the hero entrance. Cynex trying to get some autos back in. The Martial Cadence. Galio lands on the ground. No sustain with the blind means that Teemo makes a difference. Polo Mint, Q lands, waiting for that cone. Can he find his exit off the plant? Grubbed and smited down like the camp he's next to. 2 for 2 in the long play as J4 gonna be on a wild goose chase here with the Silas.
Yeah, has the flag of drag. Also got that blast cone to get himself out to safety. Silas still looking for the play, won't be able to find it just yet. But UCD, this is the only way that they lose this game, is the top 3 versus 3. We mentioned it. Warwick has to find a lead, and even if he doesn't, Grax and Silas are just incredible to all 3 of those champions. Because of that, 2 kills went over towards the Silas, and it gives themselves an opportunity to finish first item for Delgin Mine and get mid lane very close to his as well.
In a world where Infinite Duress lands onto the Teemo and still wins the fight, Warwick is pretty sad. That's the ideal situation, connecting your big, critical, easily missable spell, and you still just lose.
And that's the only problem with the Warwick so far, is he isn't tanky enough against the Galio and the J4. He needs a little more HP under his pocket, making sure that he can't get one shot, and then he can just win those plays. So talking about getting one shot,
yeah, Warwick walked in search of a grub and was able to get that flashing out thanks to the fear, and Deluge Mine actually gets away with something, losing a sum in the process.
Not sure it was the correct play. Take a look at this bot lane. Barra's very low. Maybe an opportunity to make a play there. But you could just feel the desperation from ATU, knowing that this game just slips away from them the longer it goes on because of that Barras and Lux. Just absolutely peppering them the longer the game goes on.
I'm just going to throw two numbers out here, and I'm going to let you do the analysis part. 52 and 113.
I might take the 113.
You reckon? You might not be a gambling man, but you can sure do math. This is going to be a fight on two fronts. Jungle thanking top laners as Polo Mint's going to be able to get the execute. Voltveer out. 8G1S not so fortunate. Teemo down for 30.
Yeah, nice little play towards the top side. Teemo very squishy on the side. One major ability lands and he is just dead. Lux heading towards the top side will actually hide away from the jungler there. Otherwise, was going to go down. He will be heading top lane to see if he can find a pick on Polo Mint, but most importantly, stop him from getting extra gold on this tower.
Nosy does land that pretty much unmissable E light binding. Not so fortunate as the Teemo Shroom sets him up and Losey knocks him down. Support, air quotes, 404.
And when it feels bad to play against Teemo is exactly that. When you have a Shroom there for about 2 minutes and then you get to see the enjoyment of that just killing them. Escort doesn't have any good boots, so we'll get run down here.
Exactly, boots difference here, but there's now a 3 versus 1, and Slimeman's used his big cooldowns. He might be one tanky gargoyle, but do they have enough damage to bring him down? Cynex getting a heal, Cataclysm on the Cowd who doesn't have the flash. He's gonna be stuck in that box, peeling as best as he can as the Emilio. Here comes the Galio, and the Dragon's Rage does find it. Galio in. He's going to be going down as well. Chains of Corruption is going to be flashed away from Voltveer. It's going to be going in with another Kingslayer. Warwick down. That's the bot lane turning up for the party. And why do you ask me is the difference maker down bot?
Yeah, it was a good flash from the Silas, but they just don't have the damage to one-shot anybody as yet again. Teemo bullying towards that top side. And UCD, because of their gold lead, make a bad play into a pretty good one as they get 3 tower plates towards the bot side, a full top lane tower, and a dragon as well to boot.
And right now, you've got yourself a very lopsided gold lead. Top lane is just misery as there's going to be a fight here in this river pit. Cynex gets the assist from his support as in goes Deluge Mine. Here comes the Infinite Duress. Do you have the sustain that you need, though? Warwick trying to stall for his bot lane, but it's only a Noon Quiver to a full-on Yomu's. Deluge waiting on a Q, throwing out the W. Why do you ask me? He's going to be eaten a bite out of him. 1800. He doesn't have the Empowered Smite quite yet. Smited down and slain. J4 gets it. Somehow, the ring around the rosy complete, and Jarvan still gets his Drake.
And Warwick was so close to getting that objective, only 200 away from being in smite range, actually helping the J4 by the end of that, making that play work out. As towards the top side, it feels like Teemo's just playing his own game, getting himself that tower plate. As when we take a look at the items built between everybody, just the amount of damage coming out from this Lux being 5-0 and 6.
Oh,
First
no.
item completed.
I'm not sure that Silas meant to take that fight as he's instantly locked up and slain, and bad goes to worse. That we're looking at around 11,000 gold in 15 minutes.
Well, we did see a top laner go 1 and 11, so it feels like this team is very used to being this far behind as UCD just absolutely decimating them. And you can feel the amount of confidence coming into this team when they just want to get themselves to Gamerfest.
Base check to a Lux and is able to actually walk it off, sputting sustain, a clencher, but out.
Yeah, very close to not being alive just then, but being able to bully out the Emilio does give UCD the chance to pick themselves up this Rift out. I think the best place is probably towards the mid lane. Use your Varus, use your Lux, and start just cracking open this base as we're only 15.5 minutes through this game. But UCD very close to getting Inhibitor Tower if they use that.
Edge of Night has also been completed, so even if Silas does connect these chains, it's still not going to be the play that he really hopes it will be, a potential 4v3, as they might actually go on in connecting the Infinite Duress, as here goes Why Do You Ask Me? The dive, Chains of Corruption can be flashed away from as Lozy's jungler, now going to be the center of attention. Here comes the Galio stall, dominating for the Lux, and here comes the Galio. Cynex trying to follow up from his mid lane's play, lining up for the final spark, and the Jinx can't do a thing about it. They sacrifice their mid, but get 3 in kind.
Yeah, and ATU, they need to find a pickoff for this Jinx to become a massive threat in this fight. But you saw yet again there, they just don't have the damage, but more importantly, they don't have the sticking power. They tried to use one ultimate to get onto them, Silas on the side, but that spell shield you mentioned beforehand, stopping him from getting onto the Varus and making that big play. So UCD get themselves out to safety, win out there, and get themselves this mid lane tower, and even this top one.
Top's gonna be chipped down, flash underneath the tower, ignite, auto, and Teemo gets his prize. The turret gonna be an afterthought, and it is 6-0 on that scoreline.
Yeah, and remember, this was a counter pick from Polo Mint, trying to make sure that this Teemo was not going to be able to play the game. But Teemo now solo towards the top side. However, of course, he has that Q available, making sure no auto attacks will hit him. So instead of going for it, Warwick has to walk away, and UCD with an even bigger gold lead of 13,000.
This is typically where you throw out the, all right, what's the comeback angle? Where do you make your play? And I feel like our options are somewhere between DDoS and Deathbrush. Those are kind of what we're working with.
So it's either B Fnatic or just FF.
It is absolutely just an untenable situation. You have to go for these desperation flip plays, and even those, you might not have enough to get through some of the thicker members as Polo Mint gonna find himself with some unwanted attention. A nice body slam out of the way of the chains, but here comes the J4 collecting onto 80 carry. Slime Man picks up top lane, Cowd runs for his life, and UCD continue to give chase a couple of tower shots. Undeterred is this Galio, diving with reckless abandon and making it look all too easy.
I mean, it's a lot easier when you're 13,000 gold ahead and the rest of your team is right behind you to find the support. They find themselves a kill. They find themselves another stun.
Pulling the trigger on that ult, is forced to flash away. It's going to be a couple of spells spent as here comes the Galio over the top. Heroic entrance to the killing spree for this top laner. Now Slime Man's going to be receiving a couple of tower shots. Heated up and killed. They get one back, but lose 2 to do so.
Yeah, and they are going to be able to hold on their mid lane tower, but it's taken such a big beating. The gold lead is the same as before, as they will be looking for this mid lane to finish it off, and even the bot side, as Teemo's been such a huge threat on this side lane.
Explosive Cask does get the flashes. It's going to be a one-man dive from Teemo. No minions, no support, no problem. He's going to be walking his way on in with the dots as Polo Mint. Remember, no ult means no real threat will become this Teemo.
Yeah, and I absolutely love how Teemo's been playing this. He's gone for the Hydra and the Static Shiv, being fully in towards that wave clear. He can push the wave, move around the map, or keep bullying out Polo Mint and starting to take these towers. But with all of this aggression...
Okay, we might find our way onto Lozy, though, who's already spent the laser. Proto Belt, Voltaire does not connect to the E2. It's going to be a long chase down as Deluge Mine receiving a whole lot more attention from the Teemo. One more Kingslayer does eventually get the Lux, but eventually brought down again. Spudding forced to flash away. Piercing Arrow pierces the heart of the support. 30-10, 46-30. It's all UCD.
Might be piercing the hearts of ATU fans. They're so close to being lost here. Best of 3, second game seems in the hands of UCD. 4.5 minutes until they can get themselves the soul, but honestly, I don't even think they need it. Getting the first inhibitor tower, getting the second, can start practically just walking in their base without even caring.
Gonna be a body slam here from Polo Mint, but it unfortunately finds a Galio. Explosive cast and E2 only connecting onto the creeps here as AG1S has no mana to work with. Polo Mint trying to stall for as long as he can. He does indeed do so. It's gonna be a pair of kills at ATU. Do not give their inhib perhaps a little bit of a gold injection and the first step up a very steep mountain.
Exactly, they still got so far to go. 3 or 4 more plays like that, and they might break even against UCD. As now, Spudding has the ult.
Actually does get the Galio reinforcements that he needs, but now if you're Silas, there's no way you're going to be chasing that.
Yeah, Lux, of course, the ultimate up already a quarter of the way through there. Their big goal is to try and find the pick and start up this Baron. And it doesn't seem too difficult when Lux can almost one-shot the support and one arrow gets Jinx to only half HP.
However, it is small moments, right? It is showing that you can find fights if there are errors. They are punishable. You're not so far behind that it's impossible. Galio trying to find a way to rejoin his team. He does have the ult to do so and is now in range.
Now, keep thinking about this Gragas. That cast could be the make or break for this team. The way this team likes to work is Galio, J4, find the Wumbo combo on the front line, leaving the space for Varus and Lux to try and use their ultimates to combo with that J4s. But if they can find a way for Gragas to maybe split the team, get J4 to the side, get on top of the Varus and the Lux, the amount of damage UCD will absolutely crash down, given the opportunity for this Warwick and even the Jinx to start taking over the fight.
Chains of Corruption are sidestep, throwing out that laser. It's a full bunch of air that it finds, as now the Teemo is going to be receiving, and E gets away with that move speed, and the W getting him out of dodge.
Yeah, very close to hitting that. If that was able to land Gragas on top of that, that would have been one dead Teemo. As UCD are playing with fire, stealing away these camps, and they are too scared to start up this objective. They're still waiting for that one perfect pick. Otherwise, they're just going to wait another 2 minutes and start up the dragon instead.
There's no need to flip it, right? You have all of the cards. You slowly just play incremental league. Get your inhib, walk back, push your waves, get your inhib, rinse, repeat, and eventually the Nexus will fall. 1 minute 44, and do you have enough to last that long here for ATU?
I'm not too sure. As Gragas towards the bot side, just trying to clear this full wave, giving themselves a bit of breathing space for the dragon, of course, in a minute 30. But with him not here, with the cask not available, it gives themselves an opportunity for UCD to walk in, get that mid lane inhibitor you talked about, and now the bot lane one as well.
This Teemo Shiv is going to be jumped on, trying to find their way onto the top lane, but they line up for the lasers. Here comes the final spark, cleanse for the breath of life. Gets them all out temporarily. Piercing arrow does land onto the Warwick. Gragas next to fall. Super Mega Death Rocket gets Jinx excited, but this is only 2 items versus 3.5 on the opposite side. She just doesn't have the funding to do it. Light Binding lands, EQ the same, gonna be flashing away, Cataclysm landing onto the support as here comes the Galio rejoin, full tier, it's the carries versus 4, stunned up underneath the tower, they're gonna work their way through the Nexus towers, going golden, double tower shots onto the Galio, likely to finish him off, no assist means no hyper, and Jinx is gonna have to slowly and painfully rocket them down in the meantime. A long sequence, Kingslayer sidestep the E2, no burst damage, no reset, and Cowd can't get excited. Warwick reinforces, but Varus stays alive.
Yeah, super speedy, but with no ultimate available, too scary to go on towards the Varus, who yet again has that ultimate available. Dragging up in 15 seconds time, but with their base falling apart, can they even send a party out there to try and stop it? Now, fortunately, Slime Man won't be available just as it spawns, but with that teleport available, it doesn't really matter. As ATU now, yes, they have stopped this gold lead at that 15,000 mark, but 2 items compared to 3.5, even 4 on this Varus. Sandbag, this uphill bow you talked about, it's still a mighty high hill.
You have taken 2 shovels of dirt off of the hill.
Progress.
The hill is effectively unchanged. You have made tangible progress. Meaningful progress, less so, soul secured without a single spell in the pit.
And as Gragas is trying to get himself out to safety, we also have to think that does actually TP out. We do also have to think that they aren't just trying to stop them from making this mountain bigger. They're actually trying to build their own mountain of gold. You know those 2 pieces? That could be the make or break. That could be the difference between starting or not.
It is, at the end of the day, your Nexus is unbroken, meaning you are still in this game, but it's going to take some legendary heroics to do so. They are now staring down Chemtech Soul, so that burst that wasn't quite enough earlier, nowhere near enough now with Gragas lurking in brush.
Oh, I felt it. I felt it in my bones. He eases in, uses the ultimate, finds the double knockback, and they get themselves those kills and fight another day. I'm liking this idea though, just trying to pick one member off, and they may have found it.
They're gonna do that onto the Teemo, maybe right in time. Calculated, the rocket will fly past, but is not required. Securing the pick, but the Baron in the meantime gonna be burning that one down, and Warwick can get nowhere near it. Smite will be denied, and Cyanex grabbing that one up nice and comfy.
I mean, when a Shroom takes a quarter of your HP and all members have to go to kill the Teemo, you'll give up one member for that Baron. Now, of course, UCD, they won't be able to make full use of it just yet. 5 members versus 4, but they can start preparing. 4.5 minutes until that Elder. They already got themselves that Chemtech Soul. And UCD, this gold lead has now got up to 17,000. And just take a look at some of these items. Varus, once he finds those reset, could it even be full build at that point?
Jinx doesn't even have an IE to work with. This isn't even the 3-item Jinx versus the 4 items. This is 2 and change. BF Sword and Crit Cloak.
I feel like she's being the B tech Infinity Edge, because you know you got the damage from the BF Sword, you got the crit from the Crit Cloak. What's the difference?
You just stack the ingredients on top of each other. It's a IE sandwich. Just
Exactly.
They're not assembled, but they're just on top of each other.
You just get some duct tape, put them together, and just say, yeah, it's perfect.
Just strap them together like Looney Tunes style and be like, all right, close enough. That's kind of what... Right now, that's what ATU have to work with, is some Looney Tunes style potential scrap, as there is going to be another piercing arrow landing, and Fulvir very quickly calling off the fight with the unmovable Galio.
Yeah, with Teemo not having the Baron himself, he will be joining the team for a full 5-man play for this top lane inhibitor. Only one left. This is going to be the final chance that ATU have of trying to win this game and get a chance again to get to Gamerfest.
Eyes on Polo Mint. That cask is likely going to be the one to really kick things off. Inhib number 3 broken, double supers en route. Polo Mint down 2 levels on his opposite number. Angling for a cask. You can see him positioning off to the side, looking for it, waiting for a misstep, waiting for a misclick. Flash body slam goes in, and here gets Lozy. It's gonna be locked down with the infinite duress. Support's gonna be the one picked off, but into the backlines is gonna try and find your way is Cynex. The AD carry is gonna be trapped inside, nowhere to run. And welcome UCD, punching their ticket into Grands. It's gonna be an ace, triple kill to Why Do You Ask Me? And that is UCD gonna be representing their university on the national stage. Welcome aboard, Huo.
Yeah, incredible play from them. Well done, UCD, on the victory here today.
A dominant affair. UCD, nice and comfortable booking their ticket.
Yeah, they had a bit of fun, played the Teemo top lane. I felt like there was some confidence. No, I know there was confidence in that game. And to make it even better for them, if you're already in Dublin with your university, it's kind of the best place to be. Of course, Gamerfest very close by for them. Can actually probably just take a bus or a train, head home in the evening.
Absolutely. And as much as we got to give the props to UCD, on the flip side, ATU with the last minute stand-in, absolutely, thank you very much for joining us on that one. And an admirable attempt, but running into the buzzsaw of a team who has practiced all season, right? These are the teams who have the most points for their universities, not just for the season, not just for the split, but for the year.
Yeah.
When you're stacking up on short notice against a team who has been playing for the consecutive year together, that was always going to be a very tough one to crack, and they were not quite up to the task, but admirable all the same. And you know what that means? Team has been sorted out. Yeah. UCD is going to be booking their ticket to Gamerfest, so 2 weekends away.
Now, Sandbag, you, me, we got some good weekends coming up. My home football team is there in Wembley. We get to go that. Then, of course, afterwards, we have Gamerfest. And please, if anybody does have the opportunity to go, please do, even if you don't come for the league, which, first of all, if you're watching this, you probably should. But it's just going to be a grand old time. Of course, Red Bull, Gamerfest, the sponsors of us today, been an absolute help and won't be able to do this without them.
Absolutely. Tickets are still available. The last handful that we have left. 23rd, the Saturday, for Gamerfest at the RDS is going to be the venue. The two of us will absolutely be there. UCD and the winner of the other semifinals. You want to get those tickets as soon as you can. But for tonight, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us. To Red Bull, Gamerfest for making this happen. Heltic behind the scenes. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your evening. And we will see you guys at LAN the 23rd. Have a great rest of your evening. Take care, folks.